Hi guys, so it seems to be another case of we told you so. Boris Johnson has been attempting over the last number of months to claim some sort of victory over the pandemic. We have seen how Tory MPs would refuse to wear masks in Parliament. This was during scenes when the House of Commons was absolutely packed. Now we have this new crisis, and the response from number 10 was, I don't know, but Sajid Javid, the Health Secretary, will be along in a few days to tell you what to do. But in the meanwhile, we should ask people to start wearing face coverings in shops and on public transport, which I thought was already the case. Anyway, Sage, which provides professional advice to the government on this, believe too little is being done. I'm really having deja vu here.
So thank you very much for being with us. So new restrictions then announced by the Prime Minister, PCR testing for people arriving, more rules on face coverings in shops and public transport. Does all that make sense, or would you like him to have gone further?
I welcome all the measures that have been suggested, but I'm very surprised that he hasn't gone further, especially in the light of the WHO, the World Health Organization, and Patrick Vallance, our chief scientific advisor, saying that you must go early and go hard in these situations. And in fact, what's being recommended is less than SAGE, the Scientific Advisory Group on Emergencies, was suggesting in September.
In September, okay? So SAGE, which Boris Johnson continues to ignore, is telling him you should do X, and he ignores that and he does Y. And then he waits and waits and waits, and then eventually he says, okay, now we'll apply X.
Before the Omicron threat was looming. And that included very definitely saying working from home where you can and face coverings without qualifications.
This is, once again, you know, if this was the first time round, which was not an excuse, you could sort of understand it. But we've already been through this. We've already gone through how many deaths as a consequence of Boris Johnson's ineptitude. And he's doing it once again. Once again, attempting to protect Boris Johnson and the government.
So going back to all the places, in fact, you can think about it, all the places where you wouldn't be allowed to smoke, because that means that particulates are getting into your lungs. Those are the places where we should have face coverings. And over the last couple of months, more and more evidence has been coming out about how effective face coverings, and especially the N95 or FFP2 face masks, are in preventing transmission and to some extent protecting people themselves. So I was surprised that these haven't been announced, and I think that is a mistake given the situation we're in.
It's always about protecting Boris Johnson because he has to convince the public that the pandemic is over. And what better way to do that than to take away the most visual aspect of the pandemic, is wearing a mask. It's one of the best ways to help control the spread. Of course, the vaccine is the best way, but it's a support. And of course, the Tories, when it came to the House of Commons, wanted to demonstrate to the public that the pandemic is pretty much over. The opposition were wearing their masks. The Tories were avoiding it for the most part. Yes, there were a few MPs in the Conservative Party wearing masks, but the majority were not. Now that has changed somewhat, but the messaging is not strong enough. And as the WHO and SAGE have said, you need to go quickly and you need to go hard against this. Boris Johnson is doing the opposite. He's waiting until it gets to a stage where he has to act. And really, he's the wrong person to be in charge of this. I've said this before. And he applies this way of thinking to every crisis. Wait until the very last minute. Wait till it's too late, actually. And then act. This is extremely concerning. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.